Hello.
Howdy.
Howdy. You all right, Mr. Jim?
I'm a little low in the camera, I think. I
Yeah.
survived.
You were missed last week.
Oh, yeah, I was missing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got proof.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep.
And there's a In-N-Out burger, no delay from California.
Oh, were you in California last week, Jim?
San Diego and LA. Nothing serious.
So,
Jim just forgot about us last week.
so were you at a race?
No, nephew retired from the Marine Corps.
Okay.
It's very nice down in San Diego. I liked it. High every day of 70 degrees. Not bad at all.
Yep.
Couldn't afford to live over there.
That is true. Or
Maybe-
probably.
Maybe one of those cheap $1 million houses.
Yep.
Get
That's
a
where you go. That's where you go when you can't afford to live in Northern California.
Oh. Yeah, a bunch of cheap people down there in those cheap houses. Those $1 million cracker boxes.
get 4 people to move in with you so you could afford it.
Yeah. If I was rich as Art, that's where I'd be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like Southern California. I love Northern California. I love the Bay Area, but I'm not particularly fond of certainly the LA Basin area. San Diego, I've only been there a couple of times. I was there on a job interview about 50 years ago, and at General Atomics. And so, what's your nephew muster out at?
A staff sergeant. Oh, the rate? I don't know.
What's a staff sergeant is 4-striper?
I don't know.
Okay.
It was pretty nice. They had the whole group of guys there making sure he left. Good ceremony.
Okay.
Got to see some Hornets and Super Hornets. It's pretty cool.
He is an E6, so he would be
An E6?
Yep.
Okay.
So
that's 4 stripes, right?
Master's, well,
Staff sergeant.
Staff sergeant. So that would be a Master Chief, right? Wait a second. You said Marines.
Marines,
They might.
yeah. Marines.
Yeah. Yeah, still.
And he's going down to New Orleans he's going from Shangri-La to hell.
Well, it's pretty nice there, except when they get the hurricanes. And then it's not pretty nice.
My sister would beg to differ with you. She's down in DR now and she's dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super high humidity and super high temperature.
Well, it's all a matter of what you're used to, I think.
I don't think so. You get down there, I lived there, okay? And I never got used to 95 and 100% humidity, never. And I never will. I went down there after spending a year in Chicago. I went down there and oh my God, it was years before I.
Is that you, Leroy?
Probably. I can't hear it though.
It's picking up on your microphone, apparently. Sound like a scanner.
Then it probably was me. I've got it turned on.
We've got some good news. The news this week, the whole universe is leveling out. On the news for this week, let's see, we got news. I can find it. I can find it.
So
yeah.
He would be an E6. An E6 would be a petty officer in the Navy. So,
but I thought he was in the Marines.
Yeah.
Marines go by, they use everybody else's like sergeant and all that. We use chief. I was just trying to figure out. He would have been.
So he was an E6.
He's an E6.
Now an E6 retired.
So he would have been just below a chief petty officer. Chief petty officer would have been the next step up. So,
but that's Marine, that's Navy, that's
Marines. Navy. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where he fell, or you know what I mean.
Yep.
Because the Navy has to be different, or the Marines have to be different. Everybody has to be different.
So Steve.
So an E7 in the Marines would be a gunnery sergeant or a first sergeant. First sergeant's E8.
So they're going to solve the world. I'm going to have to get you to look at the news, Art, and that first article. Nuclear diesel could become a game changer for energy markets. They're saying they can produce synthetic fuels at a net carbon removal from the atmosphere. And the carbon that they do, it offsets the carbon generated when it's burned.
Okay.
So they're saying this is the way. They're saying we're not going to have the fuel to generate the electricity for all the cars. And we're going to have all these, by 2030s, we're going to have all these gasoline burning cars still around. Okay.
Yep.
And they're saying this is the way you can use those cars without heading to net positive carbon emissions, CO2 emissions, by using this process of using synthetic fuels in the IEA engines, the ICE engines.
Well, the bottom line is they can't generate enough electricity to go to 100% electric cars.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, well, you're trying to bring reality into this. We're talking real here, but we don't talk this way in the public because we don't want reality to strike. Oh.
Yep.
But this is the Germans. They're trying to find a way to make the ICE engines work because they got so many of them. They're making so many of them.
Well, the simplest way to solve the carbon problem is just everybody stay home.
Yeah, that's it. That'll be their next. They should, yeah, that'll be the next one they'll submit. That'll be in California. Everybody stay home. That'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem is we've gotten hooked on transportation over the last 100 years. When my great-grandparents lived in the Midwest in, say, late 19th century, early 20th century, they didn't ever go anyplace. They walked out to the fields, they raised their crops, but I would guess that most of my great-grandparents, well, a couple of exceptions, but most of my great-grandparents never traveled any place more than about 10 miles from where they're born. And today, that's very, very unusual. I know a few people who live within 10 miles of where they were born and will probably die there. But, we've gotten hooked in the last century or century and a quarter. We've gotten hooked on this business of you got to be on the go all the time. And we've also developed an economy where you got to move products around in order to feed people. So I think the solution to the problem is everybody just stay home.
Yeah, and stop shipping stuff over here from China. Yeah, that'd help a lot.
Well, I think the Chinese may take care of that themselves. Recent economic news suggests that their market is now large enough that they don't have to depend on the American market so much more. So, So at any rate, what'd you think of In-N-Out Burger?
I was less than enthusiastic as last time I had the In-N-Out burger. They're everywhere over there now.
Well, on the West Coast, that's true. Particularly in California, going up into Oregon and Washington, and they extend a little east into Arizona, because I've been to an In-N-Out Burger in someplace in western Arizona. But they're pretty efficient, I will say that. But
They have to be.
They do that by having a very limited product line.
Yeah. Yeah, they had two lines in the car lines, and they were packed all the way out to the road. They had as many cars as could get in the line every day.
Yep.
And you go inside and there was no place to sit.
That's pretty much standard for In-N-Out Burger. The one that is closest to where we live, which is about, I don't know, 3 miles away, don't bother to go there anytime between 4 and 9, because you will starve to death before you get through the line. But the product line is straightforward.
Oh yeah.
You can get any kind of a burger you want.
Yeah.
You can even get a lettuce wrap burger.
Oh.
But you can't get fish, you can't get chicken, you can't get anything but beef burgers, and you cannot get anything as a side but their French fries.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they hire the I'm thinking of a polite term for saying describing this. They hire people who are capable of managing that, and they got a bunch of them in there at any given point in time, and they are just whacking out those burgers and those fries.
Yep,
That's
what
it.
they've got. It's kind of like the chicken place, Chick-fil-A. They got a machine. It's a machine.
Well, I was thinking that's kind of like Raising Cane's.
Raising Cane is like that. Yes.
Yeah, they just have chicken strips, fries, and a biscuit or bread or whatever it is.
Well, they also have coleslaw.
But it's
In-N-Out
very
Burger,
limited. It's a very limited menu. That's what you
That-
get. Everything on that menu has one of those three things on it.
Yeah. In-N-Out Burger doesn't even have slaw. You can't get anything but fries there. So, or at least any of them I've been to, and I assume that they're all the same. Gesundheit.
Because
And they're like, and they're like identical. You know, I mean, they stamp these things out. The drive-through lanes, the windows, everything. You could pick an operator up out of one and drop them into one
And they would
1,000
have
miles away.
absolutely no problem running it.
Yep.
No problem. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Raising Cane's menu, and it's 4 chicken fingers, 6 chicken fingers, 3 chicken fingers, 2 chicken fingers. That's what you get. Everything
But
else
actually,
is the same.
My opinion, their chicken fingers are pretty good. They're not heavily breaded; they're lightly breaded.
Yeah, they make good food. I'm one of the weird people though. I don't understand it from KFC. I don't understand it from Lee's Famous Recipe. I don't understand getting any kind of bread with chicken. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yep.
And Raising Cane actually gives you a piece of bread.
They give you a small roll, I believe.
No, it's more like Texas toast,
Garlic bread.
garlic bread.
hey, Steve,
Oh,
And it's just me. I'm the weird one because Patty loves getting bread with her chicken. Other people I know love getting bread with their chicken. I don't understand the whole bread thing. I mean,
Steve's has got good coleslaw though, I must say.
They do.
Yep.
They do.
I like
They've got-
Popeyes more than Cane's.
I've never been to Popeyes.
Really?
You need to
They've
try
got they've got mashed potatoes and gravy that are kind of spicy, and very good.
That's what I'm always afraid when I go to think about their food is I wonder how spicy it is. I am not a big spice person.
Well, they got you can get their chicken sandwich. Get 2 chicken sandwiches for $9.98. How do I know that? You can get the spicy and you can get the regular. I get the regular. I don't like the spicy either. But it's the best. I'm sorry. That's the best chicken sandwich around. Maybe chicken.
Now this is Popeyes we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to try it. One day I'll try it. I used to like chicken from Long John Silver's, but finding a Long John Silver's anymore is getting hard.
There's one close to me. We're there way too often.
I was going to say there's one down on 32 at it's the shopping center that's got jungle gyms in it. I don't remember
Yep.
where. Yep.
It's out front.
It's right
Between-
on 32. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about a little bit of a drive for me though. So just for
Yeah,
chicken,
and
for
right
chicken.
next door is a White Castle.
Eh,
Brand new White Castle with the weirdest drive-through window I've ever seen. Their drive-through window is a door. It's a sliding door with a window in it, and they can
Okay.
open it up and carry food out to you.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's worth
I s-
going through just for that.
Where did I see that at? I was out west, I think. I think some restaurant out west had a drive-through that was like that, where they could open the door up and carry it out to you.
I
Sadly, Popeyes has gotten rid of the po' boy. That was their best sandwich. The chicken sandwich is close, but it ain't the same.
you know, unfortunately, I'm not able to go to White Castle because it is my wife is it's not on my wife's approved list.
Oh, I'm surprised. Yeah. So they have
Mine
the 10
either.
pack. They're humping the 10 pack now. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, well you those sliders, man, you got to get a bag. You got to get a bushel of them to get
Yeah.
enough to eat.
Make
But
sure everybody's in the bathroom. Yeah, yeah.
I
I really like the grilled onions,
Yep.
and I'm a big fan of grilled onions. And over the years, they've tried a number of different things with basic White Castles, but I like the basic White Castles, little squares with a slab of mystery meat and tons of grilled onions. The other thing I like about them is most of them I've been to are 24/7, at least through the drive-through. Whereas, you know, there's not much of anything else where you can get food at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Used to be a requirement if you wanted a free sign on the highway that you had to be open 24/7. They stopped that about 10 years ago, though.
Really?
Yep.
and all the White Castles around me, they close at 11:30.
Really?
Yeah, they close early. Yeah,
I think the one by me is open 24/7.
they
I'm not.
the ones around here stopped late night years ago. Well before the pandemic. So I can't blame the pandemic on them giving up 24-hour. But
Yeah, I tended to divide history into two parts: pre-pandemic and post.
pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. Yeah, I
For a long time, it was pre-911, post-911.
yeah. The one in Middletown, the White Castle in Middletown, they put a sign up on their door that said they just couldn't support staying open. I mean, it was costing them more money to stay open than it was to then they had customers. And I was like, oh, well, that makes sense because I'm the only one I ever see over here at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Well, the other thing is, of course, the shortage of available labor has really put a crank in a lot of these fast food places.
Yeah, but like I said, that was pre-pandemic, so that was well before. But the one here in Franklin, the gas station closes at 11 o'clock, so they've always closed at 11. They've never been a 24-hour White Castle. I guess they figure nobody will come to the gas station if it looks like it's closed. So they just close.
So, Jim, are those mulberries or what are
That's
those?
what that is. I was going to ask if you knew what that was.
Yeah.
It looks like a mulberry.
It is. The birds have found my tree now. The other tree I had no chance. This one I was scoring. I had big black mulberries. Oh, that's good.
So, did you plant that, or was that there when you bought the place?
It's been there for 20 years, I know of. We got several of them, 3 different locations I know of.
The
Well,
farm
I
I
think
grew
if
up on, we had tons of those things. They grow fast, and we were using them for firewood. And that is one of the hottest burning woods you can get. You let that season for a year, or even better, 2, and it is just incredible as a heat source.
Well, are they full of oil or what?
Sugar.
Sugar.
Yeah, if you taste the wood, you can taste mulberry. It's
Really? That's
yeah.
interesting. I remember as a kid, this is a long time ago, I remember as a kid, they had a reputation for being a laxative.
Really,
And yep.
only for birds.
Oh, you think about White Castle now.
Yeah. But well, the source for this information was either my mother or my grandmother, and they were not
Keep you from
above,
eating them.
no, they were not above telling children and grandchildren things to modify their behavior. In other words,
Tall tales to make you do
Mm.
something.
yes,
Yes.
yes. So,
Like, yeah.
but we had them in the neighborhood where I grew up in South Columbus as a little kid, and that I don't know if people planted them or not. I mean, I wasn't aware of that at age 6 or 8, but I know that there were a lot of them because when they would get ripe, they get almost like a blackberry. They're deep purple,
Yep.
or a black raspberry or whatever, except they're on trees. And once they start getting ripe, I mean, you don't want to walk under one of them because they're all over the sidewalks and so forth and so on.
We used to lay down a sheet, shake the tree, roll up the sheet, go make jam.
Oh,
They don't
really?
have, yeah, they don't have the hard seed in them that blackberries do.
Yeah. So what's the aluminum wire for?
That's to keep it from shaking, tripping the camera.
Oh, okay. It's sitting there on a pivot, is it?
It's hanging on a one of those plant holders, double plant holder things you stick out in the yard, and that's on
Yeah.
one side. And the wind blows through there and it swings like a bell.
Oh, okay.
So I got that's electric fence wire. I cut off a little piece, and so it worked pretty good. What do we got there?
That is what Art is hearing talking. That is my scanner.
Okay.
You
Looks
remember,
like a keyboard.
yeah, it's a Raspberry Pi
Ah,
running OP25 software.
So that's got an SDR on it?
It's got an SDR on it, and you can see the SDR right there.
Is this one of the expensive ones or one of
No,
the?
that's one of the cheapest cheap SDRs ever available. Ever. I
that
think
doesn't sound like Leroy. I don't know.
I think they're $20 now, but I think when I bought that it was like $12. So
Okay.
of course that's a Raspberry Pi 4. or 400. And that was part of the kit. That was $99. And I want to move it over to a 4, just a regular 4, and get rid of the keyboard. But it's hooked up to the TV set. So it's coming out of the TV set speakers. And last week I had it programmed pretty much to hear everything. I've gone ahead and set up like a huge blacklist so it doesn't get everything anymore. And I figured out that if I just do a copy and paste of the radio reference website and stick it in a spreadsheet, I can manipulate the spreadsheet and get out. So I've got all my talk group being ID'd now. So that was something that I did have working last week. But this is, I was digging through a box and I found a Raspberry Pi 3 with a screen. And I wanted to build a portable version of it. So this one, there's a different SDR with a little tiny speaker and a battery pack. And you could almost see it's running just a CLI version of Raspberry.
Mm-hmm.
And see if that was any better. A little better. So I have to start the software manually. It won't start by itself because you have to log in before it will start. So I have to start it manually, but it works really well, and it lasts a couple hours on that battery.
So
So
what are you listening to?
it is Ohio. It's the Ohio Merck Mutual Ohio channels. I'm specifically listening to Warren County, and with the blacklists I've got set up, I am trying to filter out anything but Franklin Air Care and Warren County Sheriffs. But every now and then a couple of stations I don't know creep in there. And I hear Warren County Transit in there, and I am almost positive I blacklisted them because they don't talk about anything good.
They don't talk about.
Well, they talk about picking people up and taking people and the fares that they need to charge to do it. It's like Butler County. You call them ahead of time and set these appointments up, and they'll come and pick you up for like $5 or something and take you wherever you need to go. It's a government thing.
So this is not like a regular transit where you get on the bus at this stop and get off the
No.
bus at the next stop. And
No,
so
you've got to set the appointments up like 24 or 48 hours ahead of time. So you need to know what it is, and then you pay for them ahead of time. And they apparently have regular clients because you hear them talking, about, do we pick this person up today or not, or whatever, or they're waiting on me. I see them standing there. Do I get them today? I'm like, that is just boring. I don't care. I don't care if you're picking up Joe Smith from wherever and taking him to Kings Island. But apparently they take people to work and pick people up from work. So, and it costs a few dollars for them to do it.
Oh, no.
So are you watching like some sort of police show there, Mr. Jim? Because I see red and blue lights flashing.
The red
Or-
is the near infrared light. And the TV's on back there, yeah, too. But the red light you see is the near infrared that's going to make me grow a new heart. Yeah.
Right. Ah,
Oh, Ray,
There he is.
you're in town.
I'll be gone next week. Going to Seattle tomorrow next week. Yeah.
Woohoo.
That's what I thought. Woohoo.
Yeah, I left my heart on the freeway in Seattle, yeah. And I'm never going back, ever.
I feel like that with LA. I don't ever want to go back to LA ever.
LA traffic wasn't too bad this year. I mean, it really wasn't. I was shocked. It
I'm
was-
not scared of the traffic. I'm scared of hitting homeless people with a car. There's so many homeless people in Seattle.
Yeah. Leroy, on your little Pi SDR there, Raspi config you can use Raspi config to set it up to auto log in, and then you can set up LX options to auto start a thing. And also in Raspi config, you can set pixel doubling, which will make your screen a lot more legible.
That tiny little screen.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not know about LX options, but I did
Yeah.
try. It does auto boot, so all I have to do is hit the key up and hit enter, and it will start the software. But I did try to get it to auto start, and it kept giving me an error that it couldn't find a terminal. So
Huh. That's curious. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm
just-
looking through my notes because I auto started software on a couple of Pis and I'm not finding it. I'm looking for a thing I wrote called RD build, and it is a miss.
if there's an option to, I seem to remember that I did something to some software somewhere that actually started its own shell in the background, and you could flip to that shell. And that's what I was thinking, but I can't remember how I did it. I can't remember what I did to make it do that. So
Yeah, here we go. Okay.
They're saying it was the ramp northbound to westbound, so the black SUV went into the.
Hey, Vicente.
Hi,
He
What's
sure-
up?
what?
What's up? What's it doing? What you doing?
Nothing. I was on vacation.
did you enjoy your trip?
Yes, was wonderful. Very nice weather. A lot of stuff to do and see. I like it. Nice place.
So where'd you go?
I was in Alaska.
Wow.
Yeah.
Definitely the time of year to be there.
Yeah. The weather was very nice. Actually, many of the towns we were are empty on winter. Nobody there, because they rely on planes and boats, and if they stay there, will be isolated from the world. So they used to get out from the town in winter. Only a couple of persons will be there. What's okay? I this morning I checked my camera, my outdoor camera, with the PIR sensor, and nothing. Just the guys who do the grass mower. Nothing else. No one animal or whatever. I need to change the place of the camera to another place to see. This is the camera. See? Let me turn off the background thing. Where did you change that?
And that was a 20 megapixel, wasn't it?
Let me turn off the blur black background. This is the one you recommended me. You see? So,
So this is like a trail cam?
Yes, it's to install in a tree or whatever, a pole. You see? It's waterproof. It has six AA batteries under this thing. No, two sets of 4 batteries. I am only using one set. And there is a SD card here. 32 megs.
Yeah.
32 gigs.
Yeah, yes. You can configure almost everything. You want picture, you want movie, video, the duration of the video, the size of the picture, everything. It has a very complete menu, and it's cheap. It's $50. So this is
Putting 4 batteries is probably a good idea for several reasons.
you
They have
can
8 content. Oh, you got. Oh, okay.
you can make all the settings here. Time, sensitivity, whatever. So it's okay. It's fine. The battery life depends on how much pictures or how much sensitivity you add to the camera. So it will be shooting all the time with whatever moves. Or you can make it more
So
robust.
it's triggered by motion?
Yeah.
It's PIR.
Well, yes, it has a PIR sensor here.
It's really good. That's
It has a lot of infrared LEDs here
for light.
for night vision. It's robust. It's okay.
Those batteries should last like 6 months.
Yeah, I will try to use it in the driveway to record maybe all the cars that will be visiting the house, just to have some photos. Maybe you need to put some food for the animals to take picture by night. because I was pointing to a flat area of the backyard, and nothing passed by in those in the last 2 weeks. So I need to move the camera to another place. That's
Well, animals are like people. You want them to show up, you got to feed them.
it.
Yeah, it's amazing how empty that the woods are here. Nobody's ever there. I've got my wire-free camera's been out there 2 weeks, and I got one picture on it. One.
Anybody saw the news about the submarine? That
It imploded.
yeah,
Yeah.
Did they finally determine that?
Yeah. It's been
they,
confirmed.
they found the caps, the titanium caps in the bottom, and some shells, white shells of the submarine, of the submergible.
When was this announced?
At 3 p.m. there were a public announcement.
3
Yeah.
p.m. Okay. Because I know this morning they were still
No,
looking at it as a rescue.
no, but there were a official
Yeah.
speak.
It was right around 3 p.m. when it became official.
Wonder
Oh,
what
that's-
caused it to implode.
It was not built well.
Yeah, it's based in carbon fiber, and usually the capsules are made of steel or iron, and they use a strange gauge to check the expansion, but the fiber doesn't. The strain gauge doesn't work with the carbon fiber thing, so they were using microphones to check for cracks. I think the carbon fiber with cycles of temperature and pressure maybe create a weak point, and in this time they just implode instantly.
Well, the hatch that you get in and out of had 24 bolts around it, and you have to be sealed in, so there's no way out from the inside. And my initial thought was somebody cross-threaded one of those bolts and caused a problem, because that would cause a problem too at 3,800 feet.
Yep.
Well, at least
But-
they didn't suffocate over the last week.
No,
Well,
But
the reality is that was probably pretty quick.
yeah,
yeah, when I first heard about how this thing was made, I was like, oh yeah, it imploded. So
And one of the pilots sued them about the lack of testing.
yeah, so it's not really over yet. There's probably going to be dozens of lawsuits now.
Yeah, the lawyers are going to have a feeding frenzy for a couple of years on this.
Why are you shaking your head, Ray?
I'll bet you there were so many releases and stuff like that.
It doesn't.
Waivers,
waiver,
but
yeah.
also these people are what you call a sophisticated user. They are intelligent. They had engineering degrees. They were understanding of the risk that they were going into.
Not the passengers that were on board. This
Okay,
was
so
a
what-
passenger crew.
They
It
had
was
one of the
not. It
passengers-
What were
wasn't
the
the
qualifications
engineer.
of the passengers in there?
I don't know. Rich. They were rich. That was their qualification.
Yeah, but they weren't stupid. I know they might have been stupid rich, but they weren't stupid.
They had one of
Okay.
the passengers that ridden on it before, and he said in the first paragraph they mentioned death 6 times.
I don't think
Okay.
I don't think you could in an untested sub like that. I don't think you could just sign away something, but that's what the lawyers will get involved with. They'll figure it out.
They
But the-
signed. They
there is
signed.
there is no money there to sue.
No, that company's out of business, but
They're buying stuff off of eBay and from Home Depot to build that sub.
yeah, I know.
They
Like we do.
yeah.
Robots.
I'm building stuff with crap that I found left over in a factory. Okay. I'm not gonna go 3,800 feet though. That's stupid.
That's what I was ready to say. I personally would do that, but there's no way in hell I would go any deeper than a couple of 100 feet, maybe.
And it's like, hey, let me take you down there because if the thing's failed, we both gonna die, and I don't want to live through that. You're gonna sue me? I don't want to live through it. We're gonna die.
The control
They
is like a
already-
PlayStation
They
control.
already made like eight trips before.
Yeah, it made some trips before, but that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, the cycle of the trips, temperature and pressure, maybe ending on
Okay.
a crack.
I think I can answer this question. How many times do I want to be shot if I'm wearing a bulletproof vest? The same bulletproof vest.
None.
Okay. Nine times.
You
saw
don't
pictures.
want to be shot even once even if you are wearing a vest.
I have 2 bulletproof vests. I don't want to be shot at all.
Yeah.
But once that bulletproof vest gets shot, I wouldn't want to wear it again.
No.
Even after so many years, they're like, hey, just by exposure to air, by wearing it, and moving around,
Well,
it's not worth keeping anymore. And if you're going to build a sub and you take it down there and hey, this thing is creaking and shrinking and stretching and warping, I don't want to be in that thing.
And you made it out of carbon fiber, which is a completely untested.
I saw a picture. I saw a picture of the test they made with 1/3 of the size with carbon fiber, and in the test implode. So the picture appears all the carbon fiber like corrugated, but the picture disappeared from the web. I can't find it again. But they did some tests in scale models with carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber,
The problem
that would scare the hell out of me just if I knew it was carbon fiber.
Hey, Jim, what is that other carbon stuff that they were going to build everything out of? That's amazing.
Nanotubes.
Graphene.
But the carbon
Pencils.
fiber
Let's
is
go
used
pencils.
in the diving tanks because it's good for inside pressure to
Pressure going outward.
Yeah, but inside is a different thing, You can collapse instantly if something go wrong. What's that?
So that's my portable
Submarine?
Yep, that's my submarine. That's
the
my
guidance
portable
system.
SDR. The guidance system for that sub wasn't much better, I don't think.
I feel like if I was in Leroy's car going underwater, at least I think I could get out before we got too
Well,
deep.
Ray don't like the Bluetooth system, but they were using Bluetooth across the carbon fiber to control the sub.
Yep.
So
Bluetooth is good for porting audio to somewhere, and it's not even real good for that.
Yeah, but I think that problem is not related with that. But
so
were they able to record inside the submarine? Like they get these guys' last words. It was like, oh.
Nothing.
I don't know.
Not even.
They lost contact with them at an
It's
hour
too
and
fast.
45 minutes. Yeah.
It's an implosion, It's instantly.
It's fast. If you've ever watched like Mythbusters did a train tanker implosion.
Yeah. It's instantly.
It just goes and it's done. I mean, Done.
That's the word I use too.
Oh, yep. You're done.
I loved Steve's reaction to that though. It was good.
So tell me, Leroy,
Yep.
as part of your submarine training,
Yep.
do they brief you on the various
Implosions.
yes.
After an
Yeah,
implosion, how do they refuel?
It's called bend over and kiss your butt goodbye.
Oh, you had a breather. You could crawl out and you had a breather that'd last 5 minutes. Man.
The
Hey, let's go to reality. There was a submarine that sank, and there were live people in it. It was a
Yep.
military sub,
yep.
and that divers were down there, and they were trying to look at how to recover the submarine, and they were using tapping type Morse code. Do you know what they said? Trying to communicate with the divers? It was very simple. Is there hope?
Okay.
It was a 2-letter response.
I bet it was
No.
N-O.
It was a 2-letter response. No, there is no hope.
The subs that the way that it's supposed to work. Of course, if it's a catastrophic failure, anything could happen, but in theory, you should be able to at least get up to 50 foot and get off the submarine. There is a way to get out of the submarine from a depth of about 50 foot.
50 foot.
50 foot is the safe zone.
Yeah.
But
Not to my ears, it ain't. I can't go in the deep end of the pool and touch the bottom.
well, in general, 50 foot is the safe zone.
Okay.
You're not going to die
yeah,
from
soon.
50 foot. You may not like it, but you're not going to die. But
So you don't end up with bends?
not from 50 foot. And they actually tell you, I've done it in simulation. They tell you to exhale and get all the air out of your body and hold
Because-
yourself like this, and you shoot up
Because
like a freaking bullet, and you're on the surface before you even realize that you've left the sub.
yeah, you need to get out all the air because you will be expanding very fast when you
Yep.
go up.
Yeah, you're
It's counterintuitive because the next thing you have to concentrate on is don't breathe in.
don't
Yeah.
breathe.
Yeah.
And that is, they don't hold your breath, don't breathe, just let yourself
Throw
go
all the air. Yeah.
and kick back and just go to the surface. And once you're on the surface, there's a guy already up there who's supposed to pull you into like one of those rubber raft things. So
All right.
I know you guys probably didn't know this, but I used to be a lifeguard for several years.
and a lot of stuff that they teach is exactly opposite of how you would think, like don't breathe. But we also have, at least I think it's still available, the deep submergence rescue vehicle that's got a universal dock on it. Of course, that wouldn't help the situation with this submarine at all, because they were sealed in with a dock with a thing that doesn't even have a hatch. It was more like a porthole kind of deal that you crawl into. So this submarine was just designed bad from the get-go.
If they drop the wrench, you are dead.
Yeah.
The wrench to open it.
Yeah. But I think the submarine disaster that Ray is talking about happened before the Navy got the DSRV. And
You're not
was the-
talking about
it-
the Thresher, are
it
you?
was the Thresher, wasn't it?
I can't
that
remember
Thresher?
exactly which one.
Yeah, the Thresher was bad. And
The
it
Thresher
was,
was either late 50s or early 60s,
Yep.
as I recall.
It was
Yep.
bad. It was bad. And they teach us about the thresher and the problems that the thresher had in sub school and how they've fixed the problems. And fixed probably shouldn't be in quote because they actually fixed the problems. They learned a lot from that disaster. They learned a lot about how pressure capsules work and how to equalize the pressure between the inside and the outside. All because of that disaster. That was a huge thing that was a learning thing. And
I remember when it happened, it was a 24-hour news thing for days.
yeah, it's also one of the reasons why I am fairly sure that we designed the DSRV so that we had a way to at least get people off in
The one
deep
I'm
water.
talking about is the submarine S4 that was in Cape Cod Bay, and they
When-
were hit by a Coast Guard cutter,
Yeah, I remember
Uh,
that.
and there was 40 people on board. They were using a hammer to pound out this Morse code.
Yeah.
When was this, Ray?
1927.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that long ago. Daggone.
Yeah, that was
Other
another there were several
cases.
with the diesel boats especially. I mean those things were designed to kill you when you turn the diesel on. You know,
And we had the SL1 accident too.
there were a few of them that happened during that time. And we
Thresher
learned
Thresher's much later than that, though. It was in,
Yeah.
I think the Thresher was in the early 60s.
SL1 was 61. That was a test reactor in Idaho. Small one. They pulled too many rods out and stuck one of the guys to the top of the building and killed a couple others. They learned how not to take too many control rods out at a time. That was a very early learning experience.
yeah, the
That was 61.
Yeah, SL1 accident. And the little test reactor I worked on, they kept having it trip and they couldn't figure out what it was. It was in Westinghouse Nuclear Training Center. It was when they flushed the toilet, the low pressure switch kicked.
the the thing is with this sub that just imploded, there were a bunch of things that they could have done different, and they decided not to do those things. They decided they wanted to do something different. I mean, we've learned a ton of stuff since the early days of submarine.
Why did they build it out of carbon fiber? It's not about weight.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything as to why they thought carbon fiber was a good idea.
All sorts of cool, expensive stuff is made out of carbon fiber.
I did hear that he didn't hire any experts. He just had engineering students design this thing. So maybe he hired the wrong engineering students who were learning about carbon fiber for bicycles or something. I have no idea.
I gotta say that when you look at engineers, there are some great engineers, some really smart guys. Okay, but on the other end of the spectrum, okay, just like doctors and I think of it like when you look at a college class and you're gonna undoubtedly the professor is going to put you into different groups, and he's not going to put all the smart kids together. He's not going to put all the dumb kids together. He's going to have a variety. He's going to try to.
Right.
And in a group, there's always like one student that says, I'm not going to work hard. I'm not going to try. You guys are all going to have to pull the weight, or else we're all going to get an F. And he's just going to take the best grade that he can get for doing nothing. And he's still going to pass because
Yeah.
it's a group project.
Yeah.
Okay. I hated those students because I always tried to be on the top end of the spectrum. And, when you look at doing big projects, having a company or anything, we all want the best employees and we want the best students or the best scientists. You deal with what you can afford. But this guy, I mean, where did he allocate his budget? Because it sure wasn't top grade equipment, and it evidently wasn't top grade engineers.
And it wasn't even at least one expert in the field. I mean, he hired college kids straight out of college that might have some theoretical knowledge, but certainly don't have any practical knowledge.
I mean, there are some times that you have to hire people that are theorists because there are no experienced people.
This would not be one of those times, though, right? there are
Okay.
plenty of
No, I'm asking.
There are plenty of experienced submariners who could at least look at a design and go, "This design sucks." Send it back to the engineers.
This design sucks.
So is the company gone now?
CEO is.
I say the company
Was he on the
he was the
submarine?
pilot. He was the pilot of the sub. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. So
He was also the one that took the first. He did the first test, and no one really knows how he tested the sub. They just know that he went somewhere and he went down and he came back. So it was a test.
It was in the Bahamas with low deep thing,
Yeah. But as far as them losing the signal, from what I understand, the few times that the sub was successfully deployed, when they got so far, they always lost acquisition of that signal. And so the crew on board the tender didn't think much about it. But then when they didn't reacquire the signal, that should have told them something. So there were just mistakes all around with this thing, and it should have been something that an experienced, even if you're not an engineer, if you're just an experienced submariner, you should have looked at it and went, this thing's a death trap. I mean, I will. When I first heard about it, like I said, I was like, yep, it imploded. I probably would have built a safety factor in too, because the Titanic was sitting at what, 3,800, and their crush depth for that thing was 4,000.
well, that's not much margin.
There is not much margin there. I would have built. I'm just thinking, an experienced person probably would have said, I think you probably need to go a little deeper.
Well, depends on whether I was planning on being on the sub or not.
Well, I would do it, but I wouldn't go much more than 100, 200 feet. I mean, that's just 50 raise like Nope. 50
50,
foot.
that's it.
That's it.
Bail out. Everybody bail out.
Only if you can get out from the inside. I mean,
Like you said, it's a death trap.
it's a death trap.
So had they ever successfully dived to the Titanic before
Uh,
with this particular device?
I don't know. I know it made a couple of successful dives, but I don't know if it ever actually got to where it was supposed to get. Here's the thing that I read somewhere. I'll see if I can find it. It said that they had tried this dozens of times and almost every one of them had aborted for some reason. There was always a problem. So the 2 times that it worked was their 2 proving times that said, oh yeah, it works.
This is why we send monkeys into outer space and dogs and unmanned vehicles.
You know, it would have been easy to, well, easy-ish to test that unmanned. But it is what it is. I don't know. It's just,
So will they be able to recover the sub even though it's crushed?
it's gone. Um
The tube that made up the body is destroyed. The hemispheres that were on each end are
They
visible.
saw both titanium ends.
Yeah.
In the bottom. Maybe they can recover it and analyze the glue that was used to connect the carbon fiber with the titanium shells. I don't know.
the carbon fiber, once you snap it, it just kind of disintegrates. It's
Like a net of.
So you're saying it's in multiple pieces, so most of which are fairly small.
I would say that it is in millions of pieces, most of which you'll never ever see. There's I think the ends, which were steel, and there's probably some equipment that was inside they can probably recover, but everything else is probably gone. It's so they'll
Were they
probably,
recording the audio like as everything for future events?
Well, they have 4K cameras around the ship. Maybe they can recover some of them. I don't know. Check the recorder, but they were pointing out, so you won't see anything.
See, in all of my travel vehicles, all my service trucks and my vans, we have a GPS map camera unit on the dash, and it can record if there's an accident and when all stuff. So it's constantly recording to an SD card, but it's also recording my voice, so or the radio or whatever's going on. So if somebody didn't believe the timestamp, they could also hear, what radio is playing, what radio station is on, what song is going on, and they can hear me say, "Oh crap," or whatever.
Oh.
We're going back
Yeah,
right here. They go, "Oh."
But that assumes that the SD card is intact.
Yeah.
That
And
thing
recover-
went from being in normal air pressure to being at what, 30,000 psi?
Yeah, but you're not looking for the whole card to be
Or-
intact, just the one chip.
but that assumes that,
And
The
it's in
guy-
salt water.
well, yeah, that too, but that assumes that the guy who commissioned the sub and used off-the-shelf parts as cheap as he possibly could find actually built a box to store the recording device that would withstand the pressure of the sea.
Probably had
And-
Reolink cameras, huh?
And since,
Everybody has heard of the black box that's on every aircraft.
that's what I'm saying. You're giving the guy a whole lot of credit for. I mean, he built this thing as cheap as he could. Why would
Yeah.
he go and have $1 million black box on a submarine that he didn't spend that kind of money on?
The joystick.
I'm
is the PlayStation.
not saying that it would be a bad idea. I'm saying it would be a fantastic idea. I'm saying it probably was not on this submarine because the guy cheaped out. And if there was any kind of recording device and it was an SD card, it's lost to the bottom of the sea forever.
One thing that's interesting, the debris field for this is pretty small. They got down pretty far before it imploded.
Yeah. Wow.
The two ends are less than 30 feet apart.
I don't think the sub was very large to start with, though.
How close was it to the Titanic? How close is the debris?
600 feet.
300 feet from the from
600.
600
Yeah,
from the Titanic.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were close.
I cannot
Eh,
I cannot define easy-ish. It is easy-ish.
Well, hey, I got to give him some credit for being able to find something within 600 feet. When you're underwater at the bottom of the ocean, 600 feet is a long distance. I mean, I know the Titanic is a big
Yeah,
ship.
and it's area, it's not distance, it's an area around, maybe impossible to.
Yeah. So if you're talking about 600 feet one direction, 600 feet another direction,
Yeah,
I mean, that's a large workspace to being able to go out there and search. I mean, granted, there's not a whole lot of brand new submarines down there you got to look for.
maybe
But-
the robot has some kind of sonar radar, and found some difference in the flat bottom, because
All right.
they have a radar to sonar.
I agree with you, Ray. I think it's rather amazing they found anything at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got something for you. I know I'm not some multi-crazy millionaire. That I
Oh, we
tell
thought you
everybody is
were.
made out of
Not
carbon
yet.
fiber. Would
Not
you all
yet.
go for a ride with me? 50 down.
Mm.
1,500?
50.
Oh, 50. Yeah, no problem.
50.
No problem.
No problem.
Bring your life preserver.
I'll even sign the waiver for you, Ray. I'll go 50 feet. No problem.
It'll be a
Raise-
lonesome trip, Ray.
Ray locked up. Ray's getting all happy. We're going to build a submarine.
Rabbit submarine.
I would suggest you make an escape hatch, though, something that we could get out of from the inside.
So were these people, did they pay for their trips to go down there?
Oh, yeah, $250,000 each.
Yeah.
How many people did he get to take that deal?
Well, there were 5
4.
people on board, so 4 people paid. So it was $1
I
million
think 3
trip.
people paid. I think his son was in there too.
No,
So
it was
there
one of the
previous
it was
paid
one of the
trips?
billionaires. It was one of the billionaires' sons. So
Oh, okay.
it was 4 paying passengers.
See, the
Were there
billionaires
previous-
upstairs.
So there
Were there
were
any
5
previous
people.
paid trips?
I don't think so. I don't know. There were 2 successful trips, and one of them was classified as a test trip. So it just had one person on board, the CEO. But they said, I read somewhere, I can't find it now, but I read somewhere that almost every one of the missions where they launched this thing, it aborted and came back to the surface almost immediately. So if you're launching, you know, even 10 times and you only get 2 out of 10, there's something not quite right. You know,
So how many people perished?
5.
5.
5.
4 paying.
There was the CEO and 4 passengers.
Okay.
So it's and it
So I'm curious about the banging.
yeah,
Was that something else, or did somebody hit the side of that thing with a hammer? I'll get them to hear us.
I'll get
Oh.
them to oops.
Oops. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what the Navy analysts have come up with for the noise, because that seems like it might be something.
So who actually found them, identified them, and so forth and so on? That was the U.S. Navy or what?
It was an ROV that found them. The Coast Guard is who reported it initially, and I think it was one of their vehicles.
Yeah, I think it was the Coast Guard the Coast Guard was leading the search. They were the point for the coordination efforts between a Canadian search and rescue, a civilian search and rescue, and the Navy. So there were
Navy meaning U.S. Navy?
the U.S. Navy, yeah. There were at least 4 different agencies involved with the search.
So the question is, if they got all those people involved in the search after the fact, where were the authorities before the fact that said that could have squashed this whole thing from happening?
Well,
People are allowed to be stupid.
Okay. This
there,
is obviously true.
as far as I am aware, there is no regulations that say that you cannot build your own submarine. And
So we can build our own submarine here at Rabbit.
As far as I know, we could build our own submarine and be as stupid about it as we want to be, because there's nothing that says we can't, as far as I know. So it's not like trying to fly an aircraft, or build an airplane or something that's got a ton of regulation behind it. This was
You can build your own aircraft.
Well, you
have
can
to put it under the experimental phase.
Yes, and this was classified as an experimental sub. So
Usually you use test pilots, no tourists.
yeah, you usually don't put tourists on your little gyrocopter thingy-mabob that you can build in your garage out of carbon fiber.
Actually, that's not so. If you're going for a sport pilot license, you're allowed to carry a passenger.
Those planes, those kit planes have a lot of
Frequently
regulation.
falling down.
Well, they have a lot of regulation behind them, though. The manufacturers know what it is they need to do to make them plane worthy or whatever. And you still get an experimental license on them.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, there's nothing that says you cannot build your own submarine. So
yeah, but there's the other aspect of it, which is that isn't the Titanic area some kind of a national monument also?
That I don't know.
International waters.
I'm sorry?
there is an international water area. No one's have rights
there's-
about.
So there's no authority then.
No.
I think they've had tourist type things before, but I don't think they've done it quite like this, and not in an experimental craft, and something that was already well proven to actually
Anything that
work.
goes that deep is experimental. I'm pretty sure that Richard Branson has been
Yeah.
down to that thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I bet he's
And-
going, wow, thank God.
And who's the other guy? The guy that made all the movies of the
Oh, Cameron.
James Cameron.
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 But
He
yeah,
was
Ray,
he was there in like 13 times in the Titanic, but using Soviet submarines, well-proven technology.
But those were unmanned, weren't they?
Hail from foot toward downtown with a large group of juveniles and.
Is that you, Leroy?
that was probably the scanner. I can't hear it. I've got the earphones on. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to build a sub, Ray, let's go out to like Cedar Lake or somewhere and go subbing around.
No way. No way.
How deep is Cedar Lake?
Cedar Creek Lake. It can't
Caesar's
be
Creek Lake.
Caesar's Creek Lake. That's the one.
We can try the Jim's trash can submarine.
Yeah.
Never gonna happen.
Ray is not ready to commit, even though I don't think that lake is very deep.
Mhm.
You're talking about a death trap, man. It's crazy. Can we get back to something automation?
Yeah, please. Something in the surface
Oh, Lord.
about sea level.
What you need to do is automate, make a robotic diver.
Hey, I can attribute to this one. I can contribute to this one. Okay, so one of my customers for the laser, because I, hundreds and hundreds of customers, you guys know that, was a company out in California. They made this little robot submarine. It was not very big, and it was on a tether. What they did was they put this out in the ocean, and you could connect to the buoy and everything that was connected to, and you could drive it around for I guess so many dollars per minute. You could just drive it around on the edge of the reef, and it was solar charging, ran on a tether, and it was just out there. Is like you could watch the ocean happening, and it was kind of neat.
Yep. Yeah.
But it was completely unmanned. I could handle that. Now, if it's not perfectly clear water in a controlled pool, I don't like being out there.
So the purpose of this was, Ray, was this strictly entertainment, or was this a research vessel?
It was research for them how to build a better ROV, remote operated vehicle, underwater vehicle. But they were trying to find some way to help continue funding.
Yeah. And it probably didn't go as deep as 3,800 feet, or
Oh no, it
If-
probably only went 45 feet at most.
yeah, I was gonna say it.
Yeah.
Most of the time that they were playing with those things, they were in this medium-sized pool inside the building.
Yeah.
You know, driving around, and I mean,
Yeah.
it was fast. It was neat. But yeah,
Might-
most of the operations were in the test room.
It might have 100-foot tether on it, but it's not going to go that deep. It would go 30,
wait.
40 feet deep and be able to swing around. But
Well, particularly if they're looking at a reef, they're not going that deep.
yeah. Cedar Creek Lake is 164 feet at its deepest part. So perfectly submarine, perfect for a submarine.
So where is Cedar Creek Lake?
At Cedar Creek Park.
It's east of Springboro, about 20 miles.
Between 71 and 75, north of Dayton. Or yeah, that's right, isn't it?
It's on 73, off of 73.
It's not north of Dayton.
East, west,
It's 16 miles from my house.
to where?
Okay.
Here's my house. I just cruised down 73.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's dirty, nasty.
It is. It would not make it would make the depth wise, it would be all right for a sub, but it would not make good viewing at all. You need a lot of light. If there's
So
Waynesville.
is this a reservoir that's got a dam at the bottom of it, or what?
Yes, it has a dam.
Looks like
Yeah.
in the bottom left, looks like a dam.
So this is not a natural lake. This is a river that's been dammed up and made a reservoir.
Yeah,
It's a creek that was dammed up.
It's a creek that
Cedar
was dammed
Creek.
up. Yeah.
Lake.
It's pretty nasty. They've got a beach there. You can swim in it, but it's nasty water. It is.
And they use this for the drinking supply for what area?
Sure. I don't know what they do with this water. It's
Well, usually the purposes of reservoirs.
there is a lot of boat traffic.
or
There's a lot of fish traffic.
irrigation, maybe irrigation,
Maybe.
agriculture, whatever.
That's true.
Yeah. There are a lot of
Actually,
cornfields
sure.
around there.
I definitely would not want to drink water from Cedar Creek. That's
You're probably
that-
drinking water out of the Ohio River.
no, because
Yeah.
I buy bottled water. I don't drink water from Ohio.
Maybe a little Miami.
Okay, let me help you guys understand water collection a little bit better. They don't collect water out of the river or out of the lake. What they do is they use the water table around the lake and around the river. And what happens when you put a lake there, it rises the water table so that they can pull
Okay.
water from the surrounding sand areas and the dirt, and they're collecting that. And by the time all that water has filtered through acres and acres of, it actually is drinkable.
Filtering. Yeah.
I know, Ray. It's just
That ain't so for Cincinnati.
You think they're pulling it out of the river?
Absolutely.
River?
I just went on a tour of one of the waterworks facilities 3 weeks ago, a month ago, whatever.
So in Middletown, we are between the airport and the river.
There's an aquifer.
actually water collection locations,
Yeah.
and it's pulling basically like wells. They are wells. They're
They're-
pulling
they're-
water out of the
There are
ground.
different ways to do that. Okay.
Middletown sits
Yeah.
on a big giant underwater river, underground river, underwater river, an underground river.
There's no way I would be drinking Ohio River water. I just don't think I could really trust it.
I know at this point, City of Cincinnati is selling water in Mason and Monroe.
And I
So-
don't like either one of their water.
They're working their way that way.
But there is a place in Athens that has a natural spring, and they say that water is clean to drink. And I've drank that water. It was pretty good water.
Here's a question for Art. I believe that in California, if you put a well on your own property and you're pulling water out of the ground, the
You must pay.
city still
Yeah.
wants to charge you
Yeah.
for how much water you're taking out of the ground, even though it's your own equipment that you pay for and maintain.
Yeah.
I'm unfamiliar with that because I don't know anybody in California who has wells as a private,
No, nobody say
um,
it's illegal.
the water that we drink or that we have available in Fremont comes from the Hatchachi Reservoir, which is in the foothills of the Sierra, 150 miles east of us. There are some water wells, but for the most part, the potable water is coming from the Hatchachi and other Sierra reservoirs, and they have these monster pipes that come all the way across the Central Valley and into the Bay Area, and you can see those pipes surface periodically because they have to have access to them for valving them off and so forth and so on. There's but as far as going out on your own land and drilling a well and so forth and so on, I have no knowledge of that whatsoever. I don't know anybody who does that. I'm sure that they have some way of controlling people who punch into the aquifer, and because it's a big problem, because over the years there's been a lot of water pumped out of the ground, and it causes the ground to collapse. Was ist los?
Well, that's what the controller for the vessel, except they put a bigger joystick in it.
You're
That's what they were
shitting.
controlling it with, yes.
No. They were controlling it with a PlayStation 3 joystick or controller.
That's, yeah. That's it.
And Ray's shaking his head.
Ah, okay.
This is
Ugh.
the Cincinnati Triple Steam site. And this is one cylinder head. It's a 3-cylinder head of an engine that's 106 or 108 feet tall. And there are 4 of them in this one pumping station. This is where they used to, well, they're still pumping water out of the same pipe out of the river, but this is the pump that used to do it, one of them. And
Oh,
that
look,
keeps,
it's Steve.
yep, there's me, there's Marla.
So you said they used to do it.
Yeah, this thing
with
burned
that
coal,
engine.
and they don't burn coal there anymore. But it's an 8-foot stroke on all 3 cylinders, and these are the works for the valves and stuff, and the control rods and everything. The governor, this thing turned,
Yeah, I saw the governor. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
it turned 15 RPM about, that changed the speed 11 to 15. While it's turning, this thing over here was going around at the same speed, showing which cylinder was on pressure and which one was at top dead center and everything. And this gauge above Marla is the revolutions counter. And one of these, I was looking at them, one of them, I did the math, ran for 32 years. It was in operation for 32 years. They built these things in 1908, I believe, and they ran until 1964.
Wow.
And these yellow circles back here are the diameters of the 3 pistons. The largest low pressure, the mid pressure, and you can't see it, but the high pressure one was, I think, 22 inches in diameter.
Sounded like it was 3-stage, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
So how did you get to go to this, Steve?
Every month, I think it's the first Saturday of each month, they have a show that you can go to. It's about a 2-hour thing. They tell you the history of it. They take you down into the bottom of this pit. And I mean, it, like I said, this is ground level pretty much. And it's 106 feet from here to the bottom of the pit. You can walk down a set of, or let's see, we went down in an elevator and then walked back up, which I think was the wrong way to go, but whatever.
That's backwards.
Yeah, but it's kind of neat. It's nice and cool in that pit. It's always the same temperature. The risk of implosion is pretty darn low. It's the walls are 16 feet thick limestone at the bottom,
How deep?
about 100 feet below ground level,
No,
85 feet below ground level.
more than 50 is not permitted for Ray.
Yep, he's leaving.
Ray,
Too
Ray's
deep.
gone.
Too deep.
I think he's already checked out, man.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
So the
actually
way they
pretty
built
neat.
this thing, I mean, this is a hand dug thing. They built an oak caisson with sharp edges on the bottom and about 10 feet tall. And they put people inside of it through a door on the top, and they dug a hole out. And as it sank in the ground, they started building the walls on top of them. All these people are still underneath this thing, digging by hand, and they're
Hmm.
pumping water out. I couldn't do it. And I sure as heck couldn't be the guy that hand dug a tunnel under the Ohio River, because the intake is on the far side of the river. If you're going around 275, there's when you're on 275 crossing the river, if you look towards Cincinnati, about, I don't know, 1,500 feet away, there's a brick little castle thing sticking out of the water. That's where the intake is. It's real close. The city of Cincinnati actually bought 10 acres in Kentucky behind that thing so that it's on their property. Cool toys. I've been to this a couple of times.
So
Well,
so don't tell Ray that it's going under the Ohio River.
Yeah, it's when you're at the bottom of the pit, you're about 15 feet below the bottom of the Ohio River.
Okay. Here we use our water from the Little Miami River.
Now, this is out of the Ohio, and it's before it is upstream of where the Little Miami dumps, because there used to be a lot of waste that went into the Little Miami River, and when this was built, they wanted to avoid that.
Yeah, but I have the plant is close to the Little Miami River, the plant for this area.
Yeah, this is in California, Ohio, which is on 52, just inside. I mean, when you're on 275 southbound headed toward Kentucky, you take the last exit in Ohio, turn right, and it's a quarter mile to the waterworks entrance. And that's a big protected area. You got to sign in with the guard, and they tell you how to get back to this building.
This
Is that in Cleves?
This is the the Little Miami River.
Yep.
And this is the water plant.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. This is a small one. This is close to Milford. To Milford. It's close to Milford, the downtown Milford.
Mm-hmm.
This is the plant. But I think they use wells far from the river, as you say, some deep wells somewhere.
Yeah, that's upstream from Milford, actually.
Yeah, it's half a mile or so. This is downtown Milford,
Yep.
the brewery, Little Miami
Uh,
Brewing, the bridge.
yeah, there's also across the river, across the street, there's a large distillery there.
Yes, yes.
That's a distillery, right?
Here.
Cincinnati Distilling.
Yeah. This is the plant.
There, if you want to.
What? This is the subcontroller,
We're back again.
Bluetooth controller.
So we got off on the whole submarine thing. So this was that portable version of the scanner. I tried it in the car and you can see all the wires and stuff.
Yeah.
So I stuck it in a box, but now I'm afraid that it's going to get too hot inside this box. But it's working, and it actually works pretty well.
Maybe you need to add a fan.
I probably need to add a fan or
Yeah.
something. And I will have to email you, Steve, because your instructions are a little confusing, but
Okay.
I'm a little confused. And Ray is here a second time.
Mhm.
He's back.
He's back. Ray
Yeah.
too.
Here.
Oh, Ray is going somewhere. Ray wants to show us something from his phone.
This is my screen. So this is 275 where it crosses the Ohio.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
These are two reservoirs.
Okay.
This area through here is California. I have no idea why they call it that.
Okay.
Here's the new waterworks. Here's the Little Miami River.
Okay.
And the old waterworks, oops, is back here. That cool round building. There's 4 engines, and that hole is 110 feet in diameter, something like that, and goes deep. And the water intake, oops, is this.
Oh,
Okay.
that looks like a big old target for a barge.
And
So-
yeah, barges get pretty close to it sometimes.
So we are drinking Kentucky water.
Ray's actually showing
Yep.
us his, you could see inside his warehouse. So let's see what Ray's trying to do.
Okay.
So you guys know how, well, I'm sure Leroy and Jim and some others know how I sent a whole bunch of stuff over to Ashland University
Oh yeah,
and they were building robots for us.
it's
Yeah, well,
back.
They basically, their little cooperation deal filed bankruptcy and it's all back here now.
Woohoo.
Let's talk about that little cabinet.
You like that?
I like that.
What is that, a server cabinet?
Nah,
It's
that's
a-
networking equipment.
It's like
Network.
a little 10U wall mount rack. That's all it is. But yeah, it's a getting the keys out of it.
He's got his plotter is back, and
So what happened to the deal? Did they basically just run out of money or get defunded?
Oh.
Or
Okay, so run out of money. I sent $46,000 worth of laser machines, 2 laser machines, 4 tables, like 10 racks, and it was like $30,000 worth of robotic supplies.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, right here, like this, that is a box of like
Megas.
450 Arduino Mega controllers, and then
And
there's
motors.
and servos and
It's back.
you know, line follower modules and motor amplifier controllers, and there's a whole crate full of this stuff.
Oh my God.
So basically, if you need robot parts, go see Ray.
Come see Ray. Yeah. Oh, I just knocked the server desk down. Yeah. So switches and keyboards and, you know, a whole like just bags of servos and, you know, stuff. So there's no need for anybody to go to Hamvention anymore. They're just Ray. So
Ray's
Rayvention.
Ray's
Rayvention.
Hamvention.
Yeah.
Ray's
but you know,
electric.
while we're there, we picked up like here's 4,000 light sensors or photo resistors.
Mhm.
Oh my-
You know, all my bins, all my, you know, all that stuff. We just
Hey Ray.
they
you're-
so
you're-
Art's question was what happened, and the answer is that they had turnover of 3 of their faculty that were supposed to be in charge of the project. They had students that rotated in and out, and they were actually being paid like scholarships to be in this program, to do this stuff, to design stuff. And they went in there and built some robots. They called some schools, and they gave up. They did not have drive, initiative.
my
They really
sound
wanted
went dead. Did
free money.
everybody else's is just well?
No, we can hear him, Art.
Okay, so
What happened to the
Uh,
sound?
I don't know.
I'm
I
still
can hear
here.
you.
okay, well, I'm here. Do you guys hear Ray?
I can hear Ray.
I can hear Ray.
Okay, thank you. Good. All right. So yeah, we sent servers, we sent computers, laptops, all kinds of stuff, and basically they claimed that the whole project was because it's a school of business, and I gave them a product, I gave them all the stuff they needed to build a business and continue the business, and their students just didn't have the drive. They didn't do it. I mean, we're talking printers, network equipment, servers, racks, gigabit hubs, everything, not just robot pieces, but we sent them everything they needed to build the robot pieces, all the high impact polystyrene, shelving, computers, everything they needed. And
It's all
it
back.
ended up just failing, and it's all back here. So
Did they actually ever sell anything?
they sold maybe a total of 80 kits.
That's
Which
not anywhere
should come
near
out-
enough.
No, that's not even enough for like a quarter of a year.
Yeah.
And that's what they did in 4.5 years. I mean, I understand COVID did play a big role and it was a big problem, but it was not enough that they should just stop all communications with high schools.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really disappointing. And I think that in the future, I'm going to make sure that they have, the next cooperation with the school, they're going to have some skin in the game. If they don't make it, they're not just going to be able to just walk away and say, oops, it didn't work. I'm going to make sure that they have something going. I mean,
You remember Mendelssohn's there, Mr. Ray?
Oh, of course. So
This is
oscilloscope.
Mendelssohn's Jr. at
Ray
Ray's
Mendelssohn.
Ray Mendelssohn.
Radelsons.
You guys think it's funny? My wife would shoot you guys if she heard you say stuff like that. Okay. Hey, let me tell you why. Okay. Do you know Sammy Mendelssohn? Everybody says yes. Do you know his daughter?
Yes, I know Sandy. Yes. No,
Do you
I
know
don't
his
know his daughter. No.
His daughter is on speed dial on my phone. Her name is Heather. She is pretty. She has a master's degree, and we flirt all the time when we see each other. It is a joke. Okay. And, we're just good friends. And my wife hates it because she knows if I did not marry Carol, I would have married Heather.
What a problem.
So, and I would not change my name to Mendelssohn. Damn it.
No,
it's just funny. We've been good friends for a long time. So I just thought I would, poke prod. So we haven't even had time to really sort this stuff out. I borrowed a trailer from the company next door here.
Yeah.
We went up to Ashland University yesterday, and we brought the rest of the stuff back. I had previously brought some other stuff back, but I just didn't feel like it was the right thing to tell you guys last week. So,
wow.
but if you need robot tires, there's a couple robot tires
A couple.
in that box.
One or two.
That is there's another. I think there's another box of them back there. So.
You're going to have to open a surplus store, Ray. You're just going to have to. Got to get rid of that stuff.
Maybe you talk to Micro Center. Make some packages or something.
Make a deal for them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
How much for one of those kits?
This? Oh, this is a
Yeah.
one-off. I'll probably keep it.
Yeah.
It's a 2560 kit with like probably 80 different devices.
Sensor.
Little testing stuff just for you to practice different kinds of sensor inputs. But we got standoffs and resistors and cables and
Everything you would need to build robots.
buttons and let's see, breakout boards and cables
lasers.
and
And lasers.
switches and switches and switches and switches. And some of it's actually organized. Look at that.
Wow.
That's so Jim doesn't kick me. I had to say it's a little organized. But just I'm sure you guys remember back when we had our little parties here at the building and stuff. So, but yeah, there's 8,000 screws of this and 4,000 screws of that.
Wow.
And I'll bet we brought back every bit of 500 pounds of screws,
Hardware.
Wow.
more screws, and screws. We had to use.
I remember when
Yes.
you were so happy to
Yeah.
get rid of all that stuff, Ray.
I wasn't happy. I was like excited that somebody else was going to take over this business and be like, you're trying to push it to make it better and better.
Yeah.
But these are the nuts and bolts and screws that we use for laser stuff. So for Jim to see that I actually am organized to an extent, and this right here
The
is
claw.
Steve's next project.
Hey, you got plenty of
Tell me
surplus
about-
parts to fix it now.
Oh, we do. I'm sure we do. So, but
Good Lord.
this is all fun stuff. I get to pack up my tools. Tomorrow is Friday. Pack up my tools. I'm actually going to Seattle and Yakima next week.
I
Mhm.
can't believe that they only sold about 80 kits out of all that
Yeah.
time. I mean, that
and
that
their
isn't
complaint-
even trying to work.
Yeah, their complaint is like that all the high schools were not communicating very well, and the high schools were all concerned about COVID. And then it's like, well, what happened after COVID? And if you're going to teach people about mechatronics, it would be fantastic to give them a kit that they could take home. this is the best thing possible. It'd be fantastic. And then they were like, well, not everybody has the software. I'm like, well, that's part of your job. You're supposed to be designing software, showing them how to use free stuff off the internet, showing them how to do this and that, writing tutorials, writing manuals. And they're like, well, we're business majors. We're not programmers and we're not technical artists. I'm like, it's a freaking tutorial. Microsoft Paint, screenshots, and the kit should include a USB cable. I mean, give me a freaking break. I know we can find a USB cable here somewhere. So
maybe one. There might be one or two in there.
Yeah. And if they can't find it, well, here's a different style of cable. Yeah, it just made me upset. But the idea, I think I had asked earlier, is like if I gave you guys $5,000 and I said the first person to write a Bluetooth program, from an iPhone or it's like, and you guys, you were a little bit defensive about it, and you were like, hey, that's a big undertaking. And no, they probably couldn't get it done in a week. I still think they could. I think that somebody that put their mind to, they put a good challenge. I think they should be able to do it.
Maybe you need to hit up a technical school instead of a business school.
So like Butler Tech,
or combine the two. Yeah, Butler Tech has business classes and technical classes.
So we use technical people to do financial stuff and financial people to do technical stuff. Okay.
There you go. That's the way to make it.
that is the recipe for disaster. Okay.
Well,
more wheels. So if you guys need to roll around,
if you hit up a technical school to do the technical stuff and a business school to do the business side, it might actually work a little better.
But they wouldn't talk to each other.
They probably wouldn't talk to each other.
The
Yeah.
financial people. Oh yeah, that worked good.
So I have thousands of servos and thousands of USB cables, but you're only allowed to pick one. You can only have one USB cable or one servo.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm kidding, man. No, I got all this stuff back, and we are looking to donate a laser machine to John 23rd in Middletown, and we're going to be donating another laser machine to Bishop Fenwick High School in Middletown. We have 2 more laser machines in addition to those, and we do not have a high school identified for those laser machines. So,
Maybe.
but I'm working on it. So last Saturday, the vice principal from Bishop Fenwick and the vice principal from John 23rd, they came here. They brought their families and they brought their art teachers, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this stuff is amazing. This stuff is really cool." And I'm like, "Okay, so we're ready to donate the stuff. The only thing you have to pay for is the software coming from another company." And they're like, "Oh well, we're gonna have to talk to some more people before we can commit to that $120."
What software do they need?
Now you're
Are you kidding me? The software is called Lightburn.
Ah, okay.
Welcome to academia. That's
Oh.
nickel and dime.
The Catholic.
Well, the main thing they were really concerned about was like the medium-sized machines and the small machines. They take 120 volts, not a big deal. The bigger machines, they take 220, and so they have to make sure they have the 220 volt electrical brought in, and then they have to have an exhaust plan. So, so here's the medium-sized one that we're looking to donate. Which I can.
I
That's
got
the medium.
I got a little spot in my room that
You got nowhere to put it. Don't even talk, man.
I will find a spot. I will find a
Nowhere.
spot.
Here's the two bigger machines. Those will fit 3 foot by 4 foot.
Ray
Okay.
Ray says, if I donate a machine to Leroy, I will never ever see Leroy again.
Okay. And this is basically what the small machine looks like.
I
Okay.
got a perfect spot for that.
Yeah, that one actually would probably go into your building, your house pretty easily.
Yeah.
And Patty would kill you.
She would.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll notice that there's a lot of space over here, a lot of empty space. You guys see this?
Yeah.
Everything else is packed, but over here is empty space. Do you
Interesting.
know why? Do you know why there's so much empty space over here?
What you gonna
missing
put
the
in it?
car.
There are 3 laser machines coming.
Ah,
They
oh,
should
and they're,
arrive by about July 16th.
and they're the metal cutting.
Metal cutting lasers. And I need to have space for 3 laser machines. Okay. Let me tell you something. The available space right here, that's 1 laser machine. All of that, I would be packed in there for that 1 laser machine. So I
Wow.
have to get rid of these 4 lasers before I can bring in my new laser machines. I have to take all of the woodworking supplies over to the journal building.
Wow.
My air compressor, my table saw, a bunch of other stuff has to go over to the journal building. We got a bunch of stuff that we got to clean up and get out of here. I mean, we have been giving away crates and stuff. Yeah, it's been fun. I bought a
Crazy.
new lawn. You guys like my lawnmower? It's black. I'm not racist. Not at all. Four-wheelers. Oh yeah, the other thing. This weekend, are you guys planning on going to the ham radio field day?
I can't this week. Or
Okay, so everybody is invited. Field day will be happening at all over the United States, and we are setting up camp at the Armco Park.
oh, okay.
And we will be there with a couple of RVs and campers and all that stuff.
Who is we?
Me, my parents, my wife, my kids, other amateur radio operators. We will have tents set up. We will have free food. So anybody wants to show up and get a hamburger, hot dog. We're probably going to be blowing up water rockets. We do that every year as well. It's fun for the kids. And it's no injury to the environment. So
Can you put the info in the chat or whatever, somewhere?
And when?
I will
It's
send it to email.
Send it to Jim to spread the info.
field day is the 24th and 5th, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 24 hours, but we're there setting up on Friday, and we're actually running field day all day Saturday, and then cleanup is Sunday, I believe.
Yep. Field day starts on the 24th and runs to the 25th. I don't see when it actually starts. There is actually a time when it starts. I'll put if you go to the ARRL.org website, you'll find it. So it is after 7, guys, and Patty is saying that food is ready. So
Okay.
stomach is calling. So we are virtual next week again.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay,
I will see everybody next week.
Okay.
take care.
All right.
Have a good one.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.